Welcome everybody live here at the Talladega Superspeedway, getting set for the playoff opener here for tonight. GGR Limeade Media Grand National Series brings us to the Superspeedway at Alabama. My name is Zeke Reyes.
And I'm Garrett Hess.
And we will be your commentators here for tonight's 54-lap event, getting set to go green here just momentarily. We'll drag in a couple people here before we start the broadcast. But, I mean, we'll go over, like, a few things here tonight. Of course, playoff opener here. We'll pull up points and see on where everybody stands as of right now. Alexander Hyder, Hunter Collier, James Bomar, Chris Downey, Ethan Harrison, Josh Patterson, Ryan Barone, Ryan Zabo, Jordan Mandrin, and as well as Ryan Matthew Martin. All playoff drivers coming in here for tonight. Those are the 10 we have to watch out for as we progress on with this one. But regardless of that, I mean, it's Talladega, super speedway racing. What do you expect here for tonight, Hess?
I'm expecting a lot of green flag running as people try to adjust to these new Gen 4 cars, if I'm not mistaken. Is it Gen 4? I'm pretty sure it's Gen 4 cars and not the ARCA cars. So a lot more power. They're gonna be flying through the corners. I think when they're trying to like work the kinks out and learn the different quirks of the car, they're just gonna try to be as smooth and cautious as possible. I say that we have about 65% of the race under green, and then the 35% is yellows.
Yeah, I do agree with that as well. Honestly, with the ARCA car and how extreme it is because the bumpers don't align, I do expect the same thing. And we'll drag in a couple of people and seeing what they have to say about here tonight into the booth out for the first time tonight on this pre-race show. Chris Downey, currently kind of blocking in 3 wide and all over the place. Chris, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Chris, I see you kind of working the draft at the moment. Any difference you see versus the ARCA car and the next gen? I mean, not the next gen, but the Gen 4?
I don't think so. They're pretty much the same, regardless. I don't know. Like I said, they feel pretty much the same. Hopefully the same, because these things are pretty fun.
Yes, sir. So you come in here as one of the playoff contenders, coming in 4th in the standings. So, what's your hopeful here for tonight?
I hate to say it, but I think I'm just gonna sit in the back and try to get some points at the end. It sucks. I hate to do that, but it's kind of the way it goes. Just hoping some of the guys in front of me wreck maybe, and I can get some free points.
All right, about 10-4. That's Chris Downey in the double 2, aka 22. Good luck out in the race here for tonight.
Thank you.
Dragging another person into the booth. Another person coming in here as one of the playoff contenders. That would be Ethan Harrison, the owner of this league. On into the booth he goes. He's not even in the booth. Oh, no, never mind. There he is. Yes, into the booth goes Ethan Harrison in that number 33. Harrison, you got a copy?
Hello.
Yes, sir, Ethan Harrison. You sit here, number 77, Dynamo Designs, Ford, Chevy thing. I'm not really sure, but anyway. Yeah, regardless, I'm coming in here as a playoff driver. Number 77, of course, Talladega playoff opener. What are you hoping for here tonight?
I'm just hoping to stay out of the trouble. I won last season in this race, so I'm just trying to maybe not win the same way I won last season going backwards. So maybe I want to win it going forward this time. But I want to have a good race and get my playoff started pretty well.
All right, but 10-4, Ethan Harrison. And then number 77 currently sits himself, I think, 5th in the practice standings. We'll go ahead and good luck here for tonight.
Thank you.
Dragging a couple more people as we get through this whole entire, at least try to go through as many people as we can. And into the booth goes the man of John Cannizzaro. Into the booth he goes. John, you got a copy?
I have a copy.
John, you're sitting in here, looks like 7th in the practice standings in this first Gen 4 race. I mean, based off of the interviews I've done previously, I mean, the ARCA car and the Gen 4, they both function the same. So, what are you hoping for here tonight?
Well, I haven't got a chance to drive this anywhere yet, so I'm hoping it's not too much of a difference from the regular ARCA car, but if it's anything like I've recently been at Talladega, hopefully my luck will turn out for me and I can just make my way to the end.
Alright, bud, we'll just have to see about that. The 09 of John Cannizzaro sits himself in 7th at the moment. Good luck out here for tonight.
Thank you.
We're dragging one more person into the booth. Into the booth goes the man of James Bomar. Into the booth he goes. Bomar, you got a copy?
Hello?
Yes, sir. James, I see you in here. Number 8 coming in here for tonight. Is coming in here third in the playoff standings. So what are you hoping for here tonight?
Honestly, just be able to finish the race. More than anything. I don't know what we're going to be able to do in this race. I have a feeling I can win, but I also have a feeling I can wreck lap 1.
All right, bud.
I guess we'll find out.
Yes, sir. That number 8 of Mr. AKA Dale Earnhardt Jr. Slash, and I like your paint scheme, by the way. That number 8 looks pretty sleek out on the racetrack. Regardless, we'll go ahead and good luck here for tonight.
Thank you.
I mean, if there's one thing that we took off of all those interviews, everybody kind of has the same strategy, just kind of float around.
Well, of course you're gonna have those people, but I'm a plate driver. You know that. I consider myself somewhat good on plate tracks. I think that the winner of this race is going to be one of the more aggressive drivers who charges up to the front and stays up there, because you cannot push in these cars. So if you're all the way up there, you kind of stay up there because you can't really have someone on your outside really bump drafting to get a run and overtake you. So you're always going to be up there unless someone behind you is not being the smartest tool in the shed and runs into the back of you. But that's just what happens in these Gen 4 races with the bumpers that like to lift each other up. So I think that we'll probably see one or two accidents, just like what happened to the 037, where they'll get spun, a quick caution will come out, some hurt feelings, and everything will go back to normal.
I do agree on that. I mean, with these bumpers, I think, honestly, the way how the Gen 4 spins out, I think this applies to the Cup car as well. The way these cars kind of spin out, they're pretty savable. So I do agree on that. We'll have a few spins, but I think once we get to the end of the race, once everybody's going for broke, I think you'll then see the big wrecks at the end of it. We'll go ahead and scoot ourselves to the side here for the Bing Chilling 150 GGR Limeade Media Grand National Series, getting set to go green here just momentarily. We'll be right back right after the national anthem. Welcome back live here for the GGR Limeade Media Grand National Series, getting set for playoff opener number 1 here at the Talladega Superspeedway. Currently, at the moment, we are qualifying at the 2.66 Superspeedway. Drivers logging in their fastest 2 laps to get themselves a good starting spot here for this 54-lap event. Here live for the Bing Chilling 150, getting set to go green, as at the moment nobody has logged in a lap time, but we'll pull up the standings here on the left side as now we start to trickle in sometimes here on the leaderboard. Chase Gibbons at the moment top of the board, but that is of course set to change as we progress with this qualifying run.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of quick time changes because the way that you qualify between lap 1 and lap 2, it's not like you're trying to run a qualifying lap on both of them. On lap 1, you really have to run high to get a great run down that long front straightaway. And then you have to keep it as tight as you can without steering too much, because every thousandths matter when you're trying to get pole and get a good starting position, because no one wants to be that car stuck in the middle of the pack, because if there's a wreck in front of you, you have nowhere to go, and you just have to pray that you'll get through with no suspension damage. And when you're up front, all the wrecks happen behind you, unless someone in second turns you, but that's a rare occasion when it comes to these types of races.
You mentioned about every thousandth mattering, and you see how close the top two are, only separated by a tenth at the moment, but not by much. And everybody right behind also separated by thousandths as well. So you need all you can get to put into that second lap, but at the moment, only 12 drivers qualifying themselves out on the racetrack. So as we saw and heard during the pre-race interviews, everybody just taking their own strategy coming in here for tonight. They either want to lay in the back or run toward the front. So me personally, in the ARCA car, honestly, I haven't ran too many Superspeedway races in this car. So the way these bumpers align, I want to actually maybe keep myself toward the front. Maybe if it was the Cup car, I would like to lay back, or if it was the truck, I'd like to lay back too. But it honestly depends on what car you're running. So each and every single NASCAR vehicle has its own type of pack racing. The truck usually has huge runs. You could easily take a run anywhere through a gap. The ARCA car, you can't bump in. The Xfinity car, probably the most stable out of all the four vehicles, and the Cup car, including side draft, is just unique in its own self. So, in the midst of all the chaos in qualifying, we've gonna go ahead and transfer ourselves over to the race. So, congratulations to our pole sitter, Chase Gibbons, in the number 2. He's gonna run himself up top, and right alongside of him is going to be Jordan Maynard. I'm so sorry if I do mispronounce that.
Second row, Leif Hicks in the 06 and Hunter Collier in the number 98.
Row number 3 is going to be Ryan Kame in the number 20. Series owner Ethan Harrison right alongside of him.
Row 4, Pierce Maffett in the number 47 and TJ Lair in the 85.
Row number 5 is going to be Ryan Barone. He's one of our playoff drivers. And Ashton Dickey in the 01 rounds off the rest of the order. I mean, the rest of the top 10, excuse me. The rest of the order is going to be shown on your screen. Find your favorite driver. Hopefully, they will win here for tonight. And we will just have to see on how this will all go, especially when there's 31 drivers on the racetrack. So a total of over 30 to get set here on this green flag. I am very stoked and excited to kick off another playoff into the books here in this GGR Limeade Media series. So man, I'm scared because typically for these first opening laps, especially in the ARCA car, it's just so hard to get yourself situated. So we'll just have to see on how it all works.
I think that you made a really good point about comparing the four cars together. The greatest thing with the ARCA car is that you can essentially bring back two car tandems, because in a long line of ARCA cars, everyone's checking up because you can't bump each other, or else you wreck yourself and about 10 other people. But if you're alone on the outside, it could just be you and another guy, and you don't have to check up. So you can slowly start making your way through the field if you're daring enough to hook up with one more person. I've personally hit speeds at 200 miles per hour in these ARCA cars entering the corner, and you just start flying by the people. It's like they're standing still. So it'll be really interesting to see what drafting strategies people will have for each other, if there will be teammates working together, or if all bets are off and it'll be a slugfest till the end.
Yeah, so we'll just have to see. Full race analytics displayed on your screen at the moment. A pit road speed is actually 55 miles per hour, not 60. But the fuel window is actually going to be very interesting. You see how small that fuel window is, so it's around 18 to 22 laps. So therefore, these drivers are going to have to at least, do the math. We're going to have to at least pit twice. And that second pit stop is going to be very interesting. And that's something we're going to dive into once that time does come around for this event. Once everybody does want to go ahead and come on in. But you see the weather here tonight, 94 degrees out on the track. Doesn't really matter too much since this is a super speedway. So I don't expect anything too much of it. But in the midst of all the chaos, we're about to go green this time by.
The pace car is in. I'm pretty sure you have to go on green in the initial start. So we're waiting. It takes forever. Almost there. Come on, Gibbons, at the restart zone. Green flag is out for the Bing Chilling 150 in the GGR Limeade Media Cup Series. Or I think it's the Cup Series, right?
Grand National Series. You were close enough.
Yeah, it's close enough. These are old Cup cars anyways.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But you are right. Yeah, they had to wait all the way to the restart zone. This series does run that restart box, so Chase Gibbons was just holding that field back all the way to that restart box. Then he hit the throttle, but in the midst of all of that, lap one, halfway into the books, and toward the back, we are going 3 wide as drivers are going with all sorts of different agendas, wanting to either stay themselves out of harm's way or work themselves at the front.
Yeah, we saw the 22 slide back like he normally does, and he's all in this big congested system of cars. Looks like they finally got their situations ordered together. So it'll be really interesting to see just how long they will stay back there, and when they will decide to pull the trigger and start moving.
You know who pulled the trigger right there? That 037 Garrett White. He's working himself on the third lane. A lot of cars actually on the third lane, as up front, Jonathan Menard is blocking that middle line, but Garrett White says otherwise. He takes that run to the high side. Has help from the 69. Looks like that's Connor Trafari. And as well as the 5 of Brayson Collins. He gets a bit loose, though. Oh, my goodness. That 5 of Brayson nearly lost it on the high side. And speaking of high side, one car into the outside wall. 64. Not really sure who that is, but he fall back. That's Jackson Dabari in the 64, but he falls out of the pack in the midst of all that. 3 wide up front, and for the lead goes the 60. And Jonathan Menard, but I think Chase Gibbons led it at the line.
Yeah, but you can see just 2 cars up top hooked together, and how they're able to keep up with these longer trains of cars. It was like I was saying, it kind of brings back the tandem drafting. You can see how the 037 starts to gain leverage, and he's even clear thanks to the 69. I don't know if the 69 is clear. They're both clear. Great working together by the 69 and 037 to get to the front. I think that if they can stay in near proximity to each other, they could be a real force to win this race.
And you mentioned about that tandem drafting as well. That is a perfect example of how the 69 and 037 can really control this thing. And it only takes 2 cars. It really only takes 2 cars to work that outside line and pull themselves forward. But now, here comes another duo, or I'd say a trio. That 5 of Brayson Collins, 56 there up in the high side, as to the apron. I think that goes Trafari. So he wants out of there, and this is gonna, I would say, discombobulate the whole front pack. Kind of disorganizes it there for a moment. But to the front of all the chaos and such, Brayson Collins is gone to the front on that third lane. Ooh, a bit of contact with the 2 on the inside line. That's the 06 as well, Lath Hicks, and the 2 of... I'm not really sure who that 2 is, honestly. That's Chase Gibbons. But in the midst of all that, number 5, Grayson Collins, he's gone to the lead. But you see how fanned out they are right behind because of Trafari dropping out.
And I think that if I was a non-playoff driver, I'd just start pushing from the get-go. You don't really have anything to you're not going to make a run for the championship since the playoffs just start and you're already out of the playoffs. I don't see why not try to push for wins and try to just be aggressive, be a little selfish if you have to, because it's lap 5 out of 54. All the playoff drivers are hanging in the back, hoping to God that they don't get involved in wrecks, or else their playoff hopes are done. So it'll be really interesting to see the balance between what playoff drivers make a charge and what playoff drivers just want to relax and wait till the end.
And one of those non-playoff drivers is that number 5. Unfortunately, not inside of that top 10, as I am... Sorry, I'm kind of away from my mic. I just spilled my soda everywhere. But in the midst of all the
That's
chaos...
smart.
Oh, yeah, I know. Thank you. I tried. The 2 of Chase Gibbons, he is up front and leading this thing. They're going to go 4 wide. Oh, my goodness gracious.
All right, while we wait for Ezekiel to clean up his soda mess, I'll commentate this.
Thank you.
3 wide about in the third row. They're trying to get the outside line to work like the 037, the 69 did. Takes a little bit. Looks like Mason Sweet just decides to play it safe and hide in the second lane. You can go 3 and 4 wide at this track. It's a very, very wide track. But there's only so much room that can go around, and especially with iRacing, you also kind of have to give a little bit of leniency in the case of netcode, because everyone's internet connections are different. You never know if someone's going to have a little lag spike, and that can ruin your race with your suspension being snapped.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, that's something... I mean, you see right there, the 8, right in 5th place. I think that might be Paul Granada. I don't know if he's running a custom number or what, but one of those cars, that number 8, who has that paint scheme on the bottom, 4th in line, he blinked for a slight moment. And that, it might be a small blink. That might be okay on, like, speedway races or short track races. I wouldn't necessarily say short track races, but that small blinking on a super speedway, that could freak out everybody right behind, and that'll check up the whole field. And that in result, that small tiny checkup can cause an incident. So just because I mean, not necessarily a driver error can cause that big wreck. It might just be internet. And you see the 8, he's gonna work up to the high side and 4th in line. Not really sure who that is still, but in the midst of all that, Connor Trafari, who dropped himself out earlier, is now going to the front, but never minded that. He's going to get split 3 wide. Up to the high side goes Chase Gibbons, and down low goes Garrett White, splitting out Trafari 3 wide now as Gibbons falls in front of the 69.
And honestly, I think if you also want to have a real good shot at this, you really got to know the car well too. iRacing recently weakened the damage model for these cars, and so they can take a little bit more of a beating than a normal car. It's really hard to get engine damage in these things, and most of your issues can be resolved by getting all your optional done. And it's not like you're gonna have a whole lot of aero issues because you're not getting bump drafted. You're in this big pack. So I think that this type of car essentially gives you a second or even a third chance if you get involved in a wreck, and that's another reason why I would be aggressive as Mason Sweet drops back. I think he wants to just ride around a little bit, but with these cars, that's why I'd be a little aggressive too, because it's not like an official race as they were peaking 4 wide for a second. It's not like it's an official race where you have like I rating and safety rating on the line. and you can just take these long laps to repair your car. So I think that it'd be very very rewarding for more aggressive drivers as they're 4 wide. Ooh, goodness gracious! Oh, they got real close to each other. But my rambling is about to come to an end. I'm just saying that there's a lot of different factors going into this about what strategy you should take to get yourself up at the front in the right time.
I definitely do agree with that. Man, that 4 wide kind of spooked me there for a
Oh
moment.
yeah.
Is Josh Patterson, one of those playoff drivers. He was in the midst of that chaos. But anybody who's highlighted in green, you see that number 9 machine. I'm not really sure who that is. That might be not sure. It's Ryan Martin, the number 9, one of those playoff guys. He's the farthest running playoff driver in this top 10. But something to note: Alexander Hyder, our playoff leader coming in here for the night, is not present. He comes in
Really?
here, he comes in here with a 14-point bonus, but he is not present. So that is a big surprise as to the front. That is the number 8 of Paul Granada running in the number 04. So we finally identified this outside car as he works himself with a teammate at 02 of Josh Patterson. But Paul Granada, number 04, currently works himself kind of in third. Josh Patterson de-aligned at the moment, but just trying to help.
Look who's coming up again. It's the 037 and the 69 like they did earlier in this race. They are real good drafting partners. This time it's the other way around with the 037 pushing the 69, but they are back to the front just by that tandem drafting like we were saying. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but it's just that these guys seem to be basically just connected.
I mean, honestly, it was a good interruption as we see a car on the outside wall because, I mean, it might be one of the talking points toward the end of the race. Who knows who's going to be working with each other by the end of this, by the end of, 5 laps to go. You got to find your partners, and that's 69 and Connor Trafari and Garrett White in that 037. They might be the two who might be the ones to beat. So somebody has to split out that duo, or else they're going to be in big trouble. And they're going to be left out to dry, and unfortunately, I wouldn't expect those drivers who are not really working with each other to maybe make a charge toward the front. But at the moment, everybody, honestly, lots of give and take, though. Even though we've seen, a fair amount of 4 wide, which is not uncommon in these ARCA cars. Everybody just trying to just stay out of harm's way, not necessarily taking a run, but just getting out of the way of everybody else. But everybody's doing a lot of give and take at the moment. No, not a lot of runs are being forced. Everybody's staying in line. I mean, you see this outside. Never mind that Patterson wants to go ahead and lead a point. One of the playoff drivers is about a door. Oh my goodness. We're on 11, and I think that was Car Trafari just about made contact, but Patterson led the lap at the line. He's going to get an extra bonus point to add on to his resume. And he's getting challenged here with the 69, but at the moment, as I said, going back to my point, just a lot of give and take. Nobody is going full-blown 100%, throwing atrocious blocks, causing big, checkups and stack-ups and stuff. Everybody's just, minding their own business. If they're clear, they'll take the run. I mean, if they do have a run, and if it's big enough, okay, you might as well go ahead and take it. But at the moment, just 2-3 distinct lines. And now we're starting to see some drivers toward the back just, ride it out in single file. And with the fuel tank being 48%, we're coming up on that fuel window here in just a moment. So pit stops are going to be very important, especially when you got 2. And with drivers having to pit, I'd say lap 20 and lap 40. That'll leave about a 10 lap margin when that second pit stop will be taking place. So that second pit stop is way more important than this first pit stop.
Exactly. I was thinking about saying if I were these guys on the outside, I'd think about, I wouldn't mind sacrificing a couple positions to find a slot in the inside lane to ride around a little bit, find some people to pit with, so you aren't all alone when you come out of pit lane. Because pitting double wide, especially if you're on the outside, it's historically a cause of big wrecks and a lot of temper tantrums. So I think that that this big inside line that's starting to form up as we approach the pit window, I think that's some pretty good decision making by some of these drivers. I think that the people on the outside are trying to get to the front as soon as possible so they could be the first ones. So they could be the first ones to pit, but you never know.
Second pack right behind here. There's a 5-car pack from 25th on back. They have lost the draft, unfortunately. And when you lose the draft, it's kind of a gamble. You want to see a caution, but at the same time, I mean, you're out of harm's way up front. But toward the end of the race, and you're out of the draft, you want to see a caution. But honestly, for that second pack, they might be in a bit of more trouble because they're not going to be with the field by the time they enter pit road. All these drivers are going to be kind of disconnected. Those 5 drivers are not going to be really organized unless they all go on pit road at the same time. The more numbers you have on pit road, the better it is for you coming off and regrouping yourself. So that's one very underlooked thing on super speedway racing is communication. You gotta know not only when to come on a pit road, what kind of strategy you're gonna take. 2 tires, 4 tires, no tires, gas only, fill it up all the way. For this first pit stop, I'm pretty sure it's an easy does it because you fill it up. I'd say 2-tire call and fill the tank up all the way due to the fact that this is a half a tank the normal. I'd say, 2-tire call, 2 left sides or 2 right sides, whatever you want to say, and get yourself out there on the racetrack ASAP and regroup yourself. So, coming in here on lap number 20, the pit window is open. I'd say next time by. So, who's going to take the bite onto pit road first, and who's going to regroup themselves out on the racetrack?
I'm saying that the majority of people are coming in at about lap 21 or 22. That's when they're probably going to get the notification from their spotters that they got 2 laps of fuel left, and as we already have people coming down pit lane, we have this big disconnected pack that are probably going to pit next time by, or on lap 21 or 22. As we see the 98, the 56, a bunch of other cars, the 77, some playoff drivers in this, like the 77 of Mr. Harrison. So we will have to see where they cycle out. Looks like I'd say about 10, 15 cars.
Yeah, I'd say around that area of vehicles on pit road, and you see the pit road graphic being displayed on the left side, everybody on in and out, and you see one of those drivers, Harrison Mitchell, taking a very, very lengthy pit stop, and that might be due to the fact that, Josh Harrison really contemplating about going on a pit road. He's gonna spin just about. He locks it up. That is speeding and a half. Josh Patterson. And the 74 beyond 11 goes around. My goodness, disaster class by Patterson. I think he slowed it down on time, but there are multiple drivers with multiple black flags. This is not gonna be pretty for the second pack on in, and it looks like Brianna Lavin, black flag. 68, Jordan Mandarin, black flag. Lath Hicks, black flag. Goodness gracious. Disaster class on pit road as all of these drivers are in and out. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, another underlooked point is entering onto pit road, and you saw it right there. If you do not enter pit road right, you're either A, going to get a black flag, or B, going to be spinning. So, Brianna Lavin got both. And that 74, unfortunately, is in a bad hole, and you see they're not connected with this pack coming out.
Yeah, Brianna's gonna have to hope for a quick caution, but I don't know why there's such a hurry on the first pit stop and not the last pit stop, because it's a lot more consequential for the last pit stop if you get speeding than the first one. So I don't want to be mean, but not the brightest bulb with that move right there. But I'd personally take it a little easier, sacrifice some positions, because you're just going to group up again, and when it all cycles out, you could be back in that big main pack.
I tell you what, I mean, we talk about regrouping. I mentioned it before the pit stop happened. There's only 4 cars in this main pack right now. This is led by Garrett White in the 037, but you see these 3 drivers right red head. This is Bomar, looks like the 22, Chris Downey, and you see up way ahead, going 1 lap down, that is Harrison Mitchell, who had that lengthy pit stop, but all these drivers are coming out of pit road. It seems as though they're going to be able to merge with this front pack, so grow the pack in numbers just by 2, and you see that second pack right behind, kind of lurking in the distance, and they will pull themselves ahead and forward as well, so add up the numbers, I'd say we have at least, I'd say 12 in this pack at the moment, as Downey goes from first all the way into, I'd say, 7th or 8th. So, Garrett White will pick up the lead. And, oh, got a spin!
Oh, they're wrecking!
And around goes a 91. He runs right into Brayson Collins, who net codes through him. Brayson got awfully lucky there. But around goes a 91. And our first caution of the night comes out. And that is a lucky break for Brianna as well as Jordan Mandrin. But unfortunately for Tyson Gifford, first one to get turned, he is, I wouldn't say donezo, but that car is severely damaged.
That's a lot of damage, and thankfully the pace laps around Talladega are very long. Let's see what happened here. Looks like the 91 went high, blinks out. We don't see him in forever. And then appears right in front of, I believe that's the 8 of Granada, gets spun around, and doesn't do a very good job of holding the brakes, comes right up in front of Brayson Collins. Thankfully Tyson has dinosaur era internet, so Brayson phases right through him. But I think both Brayson and Tyson got lucky that there wasn't a lot more damage on the 91 car.
We mentioned about, internet connection. That is a perfect example why you need a stable connection, especially on a Superspeedway. Tyson Gifford, he blinked out. Granada didn't know where he was. At the racetrack goes Tyson Gifford, and around he goes. So, oh, that is, I'm not sure.
Cannizzaro, I believe.
Yeah, that's Cannizzaro.
I think also that we're talking about lucky breaks for Brianna Lavin and Jordan Mandarin. Not a lucky break for the 037 of, I believe that's Garrett White and Connor Trafari in the 69, because now that they have to pit, they have to be the only ones to pit under caution. Now they basically have to be all the way in the back. I was going to say under green flag pit stops that it's very important that these two pit together because of how well they work together.
You want to keep yourself grouped up, and I'm pretty sure they've noticed each other. So pit road is open this time by everybody. I'm gonna come on down in for, I'm pretty sure, a full tank of gas. I wouldn't necessarily say 4 tires, but if you want to take tires, you might as well go for it. But we'll pull up the race summary here on the right side as everybody goes in and out. Garrett White with a 14.5. 31 laps to go. Our pit window is around 20, so we will see at least one more pit stop. But it won't be around 20 laps to go. You're going to have at least, I'd say, a 10-lap window on when you want to hit pit road. You could either, come on in ASAP once it hits 20 laps to go, or, or stay yourself out. And you could stretch it all the way to around 10 laps to go. So that's going to be very important on when these drivers are either going to hit pit road. They either want to come in now or later. So either when the window opens or when the window ends.
Yeah. I think that, how they say cautions breed cautions. I think a lot of the antsier people in this race are starting to get that itch that they want to get to the front because of how crazy these pit stops have been, and with such a consequential one happening about 10 laps before the finish. You want to be up there so you can regroup with the front, but I think that about 5 laps before the pit window opens, I think that there's going to be a caution, and all pit strategy is going to be thrown out the window, and I think after that the question will be not if there's a green white checkered, but how many green white checkers there will be.
Yeah, that's all right. And you mentioned about cautions as well. I'm going to go back to my pit point. If you pit a bit earlier than everybody else and the caution comes out, you're kind of screwed. But if you want to pit on the later end, you're going to have that 10 lap window on, if you're going to catch caution and keep that track position. So there's a risk on pitting a bit early, but it'll be worth it because, your pit stop is done and you're regrouped and, full song around the racetrack. So it'll be interesting. I'm curious to see on how it'll all go.
Yeah, it will definitely be interesting. I think the pace lights are going to come off as the pace car crosses the start finish line. Nope. And I think that they will start to bunch up. I think that's the 98 getting the lucky dog, and the 97, or not the 97. The is that the 74? 74 of Brianna Lavin getting the wave around, thankfully, as you need to free up some storage space.
Stop. Honestly curious what that might be.
Oh my gosh, you're opening up on stream. Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
You have 930 gigabytes of space and you're already running out. What's up with that?
Well, I mean,
what have you got on your computer, Zeke?
A bunch of things, iRacing replays especially, but we don't talk about that. In the midst of all the chaos,
yeah, I'm sure we don't talk about it.
Yes, we do not talk about it.
Anyways, Garrett White, Pierce Maffitt, and my bad. Garrett White, Connor Trafari, and Pierce Maffitt are your top three. I think everyone pit again just to top off, just in case of so they can get an extra lap or so, just in case. You never know what happens at these super speedways. So we'll have to see. If more people just lay back, or if there will be more packed up racing. It's also interesting that instead of them being front to back, Garrett White and Connor Trafari are now side to side, so they can't get these these big runs. All right, pace cars pulling in as we get our first restart of the day. Lap 26 here at Talladega in the Bing Chilling 150 in the GGR Limeade Media Grand National Series. And Garrett White's waiting on the throttle into the restart zone, and he's off. Green flag in the air. White with a good restart, a pretty good jump on the field. Looks like Pierce Maffitt doesn't have a lot of help behind him in terms of drafting, so it looks like Trafari will probably get a good run down the back straight as the inside line has to catch up to Maffitt. And we'll have to see if never mind. I was about to say if Trafari could get a run on White, but it looks like he's just gonna go to the bottom, wiggle around a bit, and head to the back as Pierce Maffitt ends up in the front, being pushed by Mason Sweet.
Oh, Mason said otherwise. He's going to take it right through the middle,
exactly.
Straight wide by the 20, and Mason Sweet, first time we've seen that 56 to the front. And we'll have to see on how this will all turn out. Trafari and everybody in tow. I mean, I wouldn't say everybody, only Trafari, the one to pull himself out of it, but still at least a pit stop to go. But in the midst of all the chaos, everybody except one driver, and that's Tyson Gifford, on the lead lap. They go 3 wide, up a high goes, looks like 64. He goes nowhere. That's Jackson DeBari, but oh, Mason Sweet, he opened up the bottom. Here comes Ryan Kame. First time we've seen him up top. And he goes to the front, but they fan out. Look how fanned out they go down the back straightaway. 3 wide up at the high side, and to the front goes the 60. Jonathan Menard, and the 46. Another driver who was not in this main pack. He was one of those 5 drivers who were in that second pack. He's now up in the mix of this, and this is one of the playoff drivers as well. This is Ryan Barone in the 46, and he's now pushing this outside lane to the front.
It was like I was saying with the playoff drivers, wondering when to pull the trigger. Looks like the 46 is deciding that he wants to be up front now, and he's getting help from another playoff driver, I believe, I think that's the 29. if I'm not mistaken. Looks like Garrett White is stuck on the outside. The 22, we talked to him in pre-race interviews. Looks like he's in the midst of all of this. I don't think that this really goes with his ideology of staying in the back. As we have a spinner, 2 cars. That's a 60, and I think it's the 23 of Ryan. Oh no, that's 20 of Ryan came. No caution. It's off the racing surface, and that's just a very tough break for these cars. Oh, the yellow does come out, but very tough break. It's not a zero chance that you won't get turned in the lead. It happens sometimes, especially with these cars that lift each other up when they bump. But Ryan Zabot in the lead with Mr. Downey in second and Barone in third. All playoff drivers rounding out the top 3.
Man, that's unfortunate for those drivers, especially for Jonathan Menard. He led like I don't even know how many laps. He's been up front for a fair amount. We'll pull up driver statistics and see where he is, but he led 2 laps. I mean, it wasn't too much, but honestly, leading laps is better than none. And he just, I wouldn't say simply went around. It might look simple in person, but this being a super speedway, of course, there had to be some type of equation for this to happen. So we'll work ourselves down the back for this, and it seems as though 60 is going to pull the block on the high side, pull that 46 up the racetrack, and he comes down low, and unfortunately, he paid the price. Jonathan Menard just came down right there, and Ryan Kame was the one to turn him, but as Ryan kind of checked up because he was turning the 60, Ryan Kame also got turned, so Ryan Kame, he's going to keep it out of the inside wall. I'm gonna slide it over the storm drain, maybe dump out a few unvaluables and get out of there. But it's just what you call it. Jonathan Menard, that number 60, was not clear.
Yeah, it just wasn't clear, and then Kame tried to back off, but it's hard to back off when you have 10 cars behind you. Ooh. Big hit in the back for Maynard, but I think that with these tough Gen 4 bodies, he could get his optional done, and he'll be good as new, relatively speaking. So let's view this replay. Yeah, it looks like Kame tried to check up, and then Pierce Maffett had nowhere to go, and around goes Kame. I think that I don't like assessing blame, but I think that Maynard is the one that kind of got bit in the butt by this, and he unfortunately took Ryan Kame with him.
Now this pit stop, I mean, pit road's open this time by. It'll be a very, very interesting, time for pit road open, because look how many laps to go. I mean, you stretch the window around looks like 22 laps or 21, maybe less than that, and look how many people are gonna come on pit road. Everybody from first to last on the lead lap are all in. So, but I mean, 3 laps of fuel is to save here around Dega within 20 laps. I mean, can you save 3 laps within? Can you save 3 laps of fuel with this amount of laps? I'm not really sure. Maybe if you're on a full tank, it might happen, but I'm not really sure if you're gonna be able to save 3 laps. It'll be interesting to see on who are the drivers who are gonna maybe lay themselves toward the back and maybe pull themselves forward, but for sure for everybody else, they still have at least a pit stop to go, and it'll definitely be definitely be just a splash of fuel, just in and out, easy does it, no tires, get yourself out on the racetrack ASAP and have a field day with it. So
definitely. I think that we might even I think that if there's a caution in the next 5 laps that will see everyone try to top off and start saving. But I think that once we eclipse lap around lap 40, fuel strategy's out the window, and it's every driver for himself.
I do agree with that. Biggest movers of the night going to be displayed on here on the left side. Man, we got some biggest losers as well also on the left side. Goodness gracious, some people losing like upwards of over 10 spots there. But their biggest mover, Ryan Zabo, at number 29, up on 21st place. And this is a driver who didn't qualify due to the fact, I mean, he wanted to lay himself back for that first run. But Ryan Zabo in that number 29, he's decided, okay, now it's time to go. Coming near toward the later end of the race, might as well go ahead and push the issue. Maybe lead some laps. Has led a lap, actually, so extra bonus point to his resume to add on to his playoff hopes. And maybe winning a championship by the end of it. But just have to see, and, you know, it's still a lot of time left. Not too much to really baffle about at the moment, especially when there's, you know, a questionable pit stop by the end of it. We're gonna, like, hit, you know, green flag here around, like, lap 20... It's like 22 to go. And this thing, if it goes green all the way, boy, it'll be very, very interesting to see on what kind of situations we're going to see.
Yeah, I think that there might be people trying to chance it. Maybe pit about I'd say about lap 40, 42. Try to cut the run in half. So if there is a caution, they can stay out front and be up there. But or do you play it safe right around pit with everyone and then try to make a move? It'll be really interesting. This is one of those unique situations where there's so many different strategies that can play out in everyone's favor. Everyone who basically doesn't have race-ending damage as the pace car begins to pull in on, I believe, restart number 2. Ryan Gibbons started on pole. Currently P1. Kevin Harvick on his outside. And we're getting ready to get going again. Get into the Geico restart zone. Oh, he blinked. Green flag.
He blinked. Oh, geez, he's still blinking.
His internet's having a field day. Oh, geez. Okay. I don't even know how to... Do we call him the leader, I guess? When he's in this reality, he leads the pack with I believe that's Garrett White following him with Downey and that Ward Burton paint scheme behind him. Looks like Garrett White is going to catch Gibbons. Pulls up to the outside now alongside him. Gibbons still blinking. This could be a real big danger. Good job on the 46 for not making it 4 wide. Smart move as Gibbons is now all over the place. Trying to find his place in iRacing, but Garrett White leading the race with Ryan Zabo behind him. We'll have to see if Gibbons can get his internet together and make a charge back to the front. But Garrett White has been pretty dominant this race so far. We'll have to see if he can keep this up.
He's led 10 laps so far. That number 37 as Gibbons falls back to second for the moment. Garrett White's going to throw a block on him. So, even though we still have at least one more pit stop left, the driver's mentalities haven't changed, and we are going 3 wide toward the front. To the front goes the number 2, Chase Gibbons. He tries to come down on Mr. Kevin Harvick, a.k.a. Ryan Zabo, was not there and not clear. So Zabo to the lead, dragging the 22 of Chris Downey in the process into that second spot. So at the moment, looks like everybody's kind of gotten organized. But off that restart, you see Gibbons, because he was blinking, nobody knew when he was going. And he kind of got ran over there on the back straightaway. You don't want it to too good of a restart, in which everybody's got right behind. But goodness gracious, luckily for the two of Gibbons, he's rebounded on that outside lane and just working himself forward. Just maintaining ground as drivers toward the back. That's Granada. He's going to pull out of line and trying to work with Brace and Collins. Both of them, I think, former teammates, or they are teammates maybe. Not really sure if they are on this league, but at the moment, so Garrett White is going to peek up to the high side. He's going to take it 3 wide toward the front. Zabo in the meantime of that, being it out up front.
Yep, Zabo up in front, getting pushed by the 22 of Downey. Gibbons still blinking. I don't know if he's gonna stay up there because that can cause big problems for basically everyone around him and behind him. You blink out, get some netcode, and half the field's gone with 19 to go. But he seems to be a little bit more stable, getting pushed by the 65 in that very bright green Bell South car.
A Joni Mitchell
but
team?
I don't know my drivers, but it looks like Zabo's getting some very good help. Been clear of the two most of the time, but it looks like the two's gonna have some good draft, gonna have some good help. But here comes Garrett White on the outside, being pushed by Cannizzaro and not Cannizzaro, Granada. There we go, Granada and Brayson Collins. So he's making a charge on the outside. We're three wide, about 4 rows deep, and it will be a toss-up to see who will come out in front. Gibbons pinching Zabo all the way down to the yellow line with that internet. Good save by the two.
No, there goes the two.
Never mind.
And
the
around
two
goes
goes
Gibbons.
around into
onto
pit
road.
lane.
I mean, that might be a lucky break for him.
Flag. Yeah, he avoids the black flag, but that's a tough break. Now the field's all scrambled up. Now they're 2x2. Everyone's trying to take a deep breath and gather it up again.
Honestly, that might be a good break for him. He had to pit. Oh, they're wrecking again.
Got a big wreck.
Around goes the 8. As
hard
James
into
Bomar.
the wall with you. Yeah, there's a guy hard into the wall with his right front. That might end his day. I can't tell who it was, but that was a pretty good lick for a playoff driver nonetheless. So you'll have to see how this affects him, because that's quite a substantial amount of damage, and you can only wonder if his wheels are now knocked out of alignment with that hard hit. That front end is just all bashed in thanks to that safer barrier.
It's James Bomar again. You mentioned he's a playoff driver. You see the green just highlighted all over his machine, but he got turned off at turn number 2 as we're kind of going side by side with that other wreck that occurred. But unfortunately for James Bomar, it's kind of riding around, and this is a huge caution for the whole field. They don't have to pit one more time, and it's now a sprint from this point forward, and we'll just have to see what happened to Mr. Bomar as they were looking. Looks like a bit of 4 wide action, unfortunately. Just kind of caused that incident.
Looks like 4 wide. Whoever that gray car was on the outside. A little bit of an unnecessary move, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, the Bomar just moved up the track hard, like into the wall. 46, I don't know who that gray car is, but that gray car slammed the wall as well. But
yeah, that's the 06. Trying to find out who that is as well. That's gonna be Lath Hicks. So Lath was trying to take it 4 wide, and unfortunately, once the 8 was trying to file himself in line, I think the 46 was trying to come down, let that 06 up there. But unfortunately, you're 4 wide. The iRacing spotter only spots up to so much. You just run out of room, and around they go. And unfortunately for the 06, victim of circumstances there, and the one who really took the brunt of that incident was James Bomar.
Yeah, to me it looked like he was trying to give some room to the car inside. I think that might have been the 98, but and then I guess he just didn't gauge how close the 46 was to him. We'll have to see how badly that car is damaged, and if he can get it repaired to get back to the front. Definitely going to be sliding towards the back. But you were talking about how this makes it a sprint, and you're right. Like I was saying, once they I was right about them about eclipsing lap 40 since we have 15 to go in a 54 lap race. But I think that now there's going to be no all the chains are going to be unleashed, and there's going to be a lot more cautions as cars try to be more aggressive to try to get to the front and win this race at Talladega.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's important now track position is all going to matter forward. I mean, from this point forward. And the way to get track position through that pit stop, through this caution, even though it's a big reset for everybody in the field, for everybody who wants track position, splash and go. And that's why that 22 is up front. I mean, you 5-second pit stop, in and out. You see Ryan Zabot, looks like he took 5.4. Pierce Maffitt, 5.13. Brian 11, who is involved in, I think they were involved in an incident. They are now in 4th off of those splash and go. So a bunch of these people, looks like all the way back into, I'd say, Garrett White, who decided to elect on with 4 tires. I mean, he was toward the front before that caution happened. Garrett White, unfortunately, looks like losing a bunch of track position, but he's maybe trying to find his partner at number 69, partner in crime, Connor Trafari, who's all the way back here in the 17th place at the moment. He's one of those drivers who did take on, 4 sets of tires, just, regather themselves. Everybody else, I mean, toward this front half of the field, they decided, I'm going to go ahead and, do a splash and go, pull myself in the upper half of the field, but there's still a lot of racing left. Still more than 10 laps to go. So he could easily work himself through the field and get it going. And, I mean, hell, there's 30 cars on the lead lap. It's definitely not over for everybody here, from first all the way to last. And we'll focus in on some drivers we haven't really talked about, who might make a difference here in this closing stages. I mean, Pierce Maffitt, number 47, he's now working himself up inside this top 5. You got Harrison Mitchell in the number 89. He's also in this as well. Jackson DeBari, kind of floating outside of that top 10. Now is in the top 10. TJ Lear, haven't talked about him all day. Jordan Mandrin in the number 68. And yeah, also got to keep an eye on the drivers toward the back. Anthony Sharps, we haven't mentioned about that, number 92. Ashton Dickey in the 01. Jamie Wright, number 42. All these drivers who basically have just laid themselves toward the back. I mean, Chase Gibbons, though, at number 2, on to orthodox place and where he started. He started himself on pole. He's all the way back in 20th.
Yeah, you're talking about splash and go when it comes to fuel. I don't know if that'd be the best idea, because that's not accounting for how many green-white-checkers there may be. So I think that those who just completely filled it up instead of taking a splash of gas to just make it to the end, because if there's 1 or 2 green-white-checkers, the people who took the splash of gas, they're going to be screwed. They're going to be all the way in the back, and it's hard to make that much time back in only 2 laps.
Yeah, not only that. I mean, you have that new auto fuel system. That doesn't account for green-white-checkers. That only counts for the end of the race. So if there were to be a green-white-checkered by the end of it, if you use that auto fuel system, you're screwed. So we'll just have to see on how this will all go for the rest of these drivers, and if they really decide to be lazy, use the auto fuel system, or calculate it in time for an account for those green-white-checkered. So we'll just have to see on how this will all go. But in the midst of all that, green flag is out. Back to racing here at Talladega Superspeedway as Chris Downey runs the bill, lead it to the green flag. See a couple of drivers moving all the way to the outside wall, getting themselves forward. But looks like the number 29, Sabo's going to file himself to the inside, and we'll pull up the top 3 by themselves. So this time, not a big jump from the leader. And he's going to go ahead and slowly drag this inside line forward. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a pull-out game down the back straightaway, and you already see it right there. Pierce Maffitt, the 47, he goes and swings it to the high side.
I don't know why you would say that. Anyways, we saw that we were just talking about the 92 in the iHeart New York car. He was the one that swung it all the way up high. The outside line just did not get going, and I think that he gained a good amount of positions doing so, because he was all the way far back on the outside line, and now he's basically in the front ecosystem of this race. But some questionable blocking by Pierce Maffitt on the 22. But here comes Brianna Lavin and another car coming to the front. I can't really tell who that is. I think is that the 89?
Yes, sir. It's the 89, Harrison Mitchell, and that number 89. Another car we haven't really talked about. Boy, he's getting huge pushes down the back straightaway. That car, looks like Pierce Maffitt's going to go and cut him out. Oh, my gosh. Now, Pierce, we're starting to really turn up the, aggression rate. That 47 is starting to pull some very, very questionable blocks, as you could say, and he really jammed up that high side. He goes from at least first all the way outside of this top 5, unfortunately, but, who wants to work himself through the middle? Brayson Collins, the 5, he is cooking, and that 5 is brewing up something. He works himself now inside this top 5, looking for more. Now peeking 3.
Harrison Mitchell has to be fuming right now. All of that momentum just got cut off because Pierce Maffitt made an honestly just silly move by trying to cut off the high line, killed both his and Harrison Mitchell momentum, and let the two inside lines kind of get going, and had to reset all the momentum on the high line. But it looks like I believe that's Sharps and Brianna Lavin joining forces to get to Brayson Collins to see if they can try to make a third lane work. We'll have to see if anyone tries to jump up and cut them off. As I was saying that they do. Ooh, Pierce Maffitt really indecisive when it comes to that. Here comes Harrison Mitchell into the inside of him. Mason Sweet jumps up high, trying to get a shot at the lead, and we are 3 wide. I'd say about 5 rows deep. Pierce Maffitt almost in the wall.
Yeah, now it's go time now. You're no more give and take. None of that anymore. And you saw there the 56. He took that run and he cut off that 47 to Pierce Maffitt down the back straight. 3x3, about I'd say 7 rows deep. Easily the best racing we've seen all night with 10 laps to go. But one small mistake. You mentioned indecisiveness. That one small hiccup can definitely cause the big wreck that we've been dreading. But so far, everybody's been keeping themselves clean. We've only seen 2-3 car incidents. But now it's go time. And everybody has to be as precise as they can. But Brayson Collins is saying otherwise, and that car is weaving left and right. Boy, my goodness, if there was a squiggle machine, that might be the 5 of Brayson Collins, but luckily he's keeping himself straight at the time being in that third car in the middle line, but he's looking for more. He wants to peek in, he wants to peek out, maybe want to take it 4 wide, but with 9 laps to go, I mean, who knows if he wants to go ahead and take it 4 wide. I mean, not out of the question, too.
And I'm not trying to have any commentators bias, but if there's one person I'd like to win, it's that 56 in Mason Sweet in that beautiful Southern Maryland Blue Crabs car. Very, very, very nice choice of paint scheme today as Mason Sweet leads the outside line, coming to 8 to go. But the man who said that he'd just ride in the back all day collecting free points is up in the lead. Mr. Downey, all the way on the bottom. Your goal on the bottom is just to basically not slide up and not clip the apron, because if you clip the apron, that just kills your momentum. And once you check up, there's no one behind you who can react in time, as that damaged 8 car is coming up to the leaders. Hopefully he'll get out of the way and not cause a massive wreck. But just another variable in this big race with all sorts of variables. There's Brianna Lavin, second in line up in the middle lane. The 8 gets out of the way, thankfully, as we come to 7 to go. Garrett White trying to make a run for the lead, as Pierce Maffitt kind of looking high, going with Mason Sweet. Almost just a bunch of indecisiveness. They could go a lot faster if they made decisions quicker.
Yeah, that's right. And you saw the 47 swing up entering the corner. That 47 Pierce did not carry a lot of momentum. You got to make your moves off the corner. And now Pierce Maffitt, now he has that run off the corner, and he's going to work up to the high side. Probably got that second lane at most. But if he swung it off of the 92 in the wall, that's looks like the Anthony Sharps comes down nearly into the 9. He's still in the wall. Nearly gets into Canizaro, but out of the picture goes to 92. But in the midst of all that, I mean, you got to make your moves off the corner. And you can swing a lot of momentum as the 60's really trying to come down on that. I'm not really sure who that is. That might be Karshfari, but goodness gracious. 6 laps to go this time by. Everybody pinpoint driving at the moment, trying to get themselves forward. And now at the front, Garrett White has been cooking. That 037, the only triple-digit number in this field is top of the field at the moment. Chris Downey, the 22, says otherwise, though. He's been leading that lowest side, and he's also a playoff driver. He's keeping himself in stable condition, but here comes that third line. Precipitates there as the number 74, Brianna Lavin, swings up to that high side, picks up Trafar in the process. We are 4 wide with Brayson Collins. Brayson's going to back out of it, and he goes nowhere, but in the midst of all of that, Brianna Lavin gets jammed up in the midst, and they go absolutely nowhere, but I'll allow the 22, Chris Downey, get clear just for a moment.
I don't know about going nowhere. We've seen how good Trafari is at pushing in these cars. We saw how good he was with Garrett White, and we'll have to see what he can do with Brianna Lavin if they remain the only 2 cars on the top line. If I was, I believe that's a 60 in Maynard. I'd try to cut off that top line, get a run, and then cut down to the bottom. But it looks like the top line's getting a good run. Oh!
Not really sure who got turned around.
I think that was Gibbons who came down. I think he blinked out, thought that he was clear, but that scrambles up the field a little bit. This is a perfect opportunity for Lavin and Trafari. Maffitt leaves them all alone. 2-car tandem up top. Let's see if it'll work. But Chris Downey in the lead, coming to 4 to go. This race just got a whole lot more interesting.
Yeah, that's right. That small shuffle really discombobulated the field, but now we're taking some new names into the picture. Here comes an 09 of John Cannizzaro out of nowhere. He ran himself to the back. Now he's up here, 3rd on the high side. Brayson Collins also trying to cook up something there toward the middle, but up front, they are still 3 wide. One small minor mistake can explode the field into bits and pieces, and now Garrett White will be clear. Into the bottom. Brianna Lavin tries to come down in front of the 60. Cannot do so. Now they're going to go 4 wide.
No one's backing off. It's 4 to go. We'll have to see if this works out. There's just almost no room. Brianna Lavin left out to dry, squeezing up everyone. That's not the smartest move. Connor Trafari still up there with Cannizzaro helping him. Pierce Maffitt moves up top. It looks like they reintegrate 3 wide, but man, that was scary.
I cannot believe Garrett White has held his ground so far. This has been crazy. Oh, there we go toward the back. Big wreck. Brianna Lavin, 85 into the air.
That's what we were expecting.
69, Trafari. He's got the 42 in there as well, and we're going to go into Green-white-checkered territory. Looks like Jamie Wright, Jackson DeBari, we just talked about him. Looks like Mason Sweet, unfortunately, in it. John Cannizzaro, TJ Lear. And we mentioned about it, the indecisiveness and the hesitation. And unfortunately, somebody got a bit hesitant, and they collided.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what caused this big stack up. Oh, Brianna Lavin just runs right into the back of Pierce Maffitt. Looks like Brianna Lavin just did not check up in time and kind of just ran to the back and caused this big wreck. Nowhere to go. That's why they call it the big one at Talladega. A lot of really good, strong cars now are either destroyed or in the back with damage. I think that their race might be over if there's not another big wreck. But yeah, just this type of racing here at Talladega with these cars that you can't bump. Lavin actually goes for a little bit of a ride, flies up in the air, all 4 tires off the ground. Another car gets squeezed up. I can't tell who that is.
85.
Yeah, the 85 looks like he had hydraulics on that thing, but just a big wreck that honestly did not need to happen. But it's just what happens in these late stages. Brianna Lavin was trying to go for it. Pierce Maffitt just did not have the momentum, and I get the only real word that you could say to describe it is a big old kerfuffle.
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, it took out some good contenders. You see Trafario was in there. One of those playoff drivers snuck through on the inside. I'm not sure who that is. You will see it right about there. Who is that? That is the 77 of Ethan Harrison. We'll get a zoom up on him, but my gosh, how in the world did Ethan Harrison keep that car from spinning out? Did receive a bit of damage, but watch this.
Gets hit by the 42 sideways, doesn't hit the wall, Submit that to iRacing Top 10. You are getting some iRacing credits right there. What an amazing what an amazing display of car control to both not spin out or hit the wall.
Yeah, my goodness gracious, that was amazing. That was obviously, you know, top 10 worthy right there. That was Ethan Harrison of the 77, a playoff driver, might be playoff saving right there, you know, keeping himself in this race. He only got a bit of right side damage, but my gosh, that should have been 10 times worse.
Oh yeah, and I think that my prediction with the whole splash of fuel earlier on that last caution is gonna come true, because now that we have a green-white-checkered, all the people who just topped off, got all their fuel tanks filled, are now going to be in the front. I mean, we have all the people who've been up front, and then we have Dickey in fifth. You haven't seen him all day except for a passing mention, and he's essentially come out of nowhere. Ashton Dickey, I can't speak, in the 01. Currently fifth. He's in a very good spot if he can manage the draft properly. But Talladega is always a toss up. You know, in real life, there's a whole slew of different winners. You know, you can't really have a technique locked down just because of all the different things that can happen.
Yeah, I mean, you could do everything right, but there's always that luck factor. You could have, you know, 99% skill, and that 1% of luck will cost you the win. You know, luck could go either way. You could either, you know... Honestly, that luck factor, it is so vague. That luck factor is so vague. It's either, you know, anything could happen within that 1%. You could either, you know, the whole field could wreck, photo finish, black flags being handed out. Who knows what might happen within that 1% of luck, but that 1% of luck can make the difference of winning versus not winning. And with 28 cars on the lead lap, this thing is not over for, I'd say, from first all the way back to 18th. I've seen drivers win it from all the way back in 20th. We saw it last season. One of those drivers who worked himself from, I don't even know, but like literally in nowhere land. He worked himself from 18th all the way to the win. I forgot who it was, but we saw it last season at Daytona. That driver from 18th spot won the race. He won the race at Daytona. That was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. And who knows? We might be setting up for another one.
I think that with just so few laps to go, since it is green-white-checkered, if we don't get another caution, I'd say that the people with pretty much the only ones in contention. You know, I'm not. No offense. I think it's gonna be first through about 10th, and I'm gonna put my money on Ashton Dickey. He's either gonna win or finish in the top 3 from that 5th position. You know, when you're in 5th place, you have the inside line, and a lot of times the outside line bunches up, so you can fly up to the top. And there's some very good pushers here. Like Brayson Collins, he might be a little selfish with his lane choice, but there's some good pushes who can get him to the front, and you never know. Maybe we'll see people all the way in the back win this. It's Talladega, baby.
Yes, sir. I'm nervous because off these
Me
restarts,
too.
you know, goodness gracious, with you know, off the restart, you can't push. You can't push in these cars regardless. And now, off a restart, it's game on. You got to take whatever run you can. You can't push. So now it's up to the 037 to Garrett White to play this restart well.
Green flag. Garrett White with a decent start, but the 22 looks like he got another pretty good one on his quarter panel. Looks like Dickey didn't get a very good start. My pick. But there's still about 5 miles to go. The outside line a little bit fragmented compared to the inside line. I think there's going to be some people wanting to jump up top, get a good run going, as we see one car already.
Oh, there they go again!
Oh,
One
It was
car to
a
the outside
60
wall. They keep themselves straight.
Great save by everyone. I don't know how they did it.
They got turned again.
Gibbons.
There goes Gibbons.
No caution.
No caution.
Yet.
Oh,
There
now
we
there's a
go.
caution.
Oh, I don't know if there's EOL for
Oh my gosh,
cautions
Tyson
at-
Gifford. Holy crap.
I don't know if there's EOLs for fault at cautions, but that I don't know. I don't know if I think that was Gibbons coming down, or Dickey just stuck his nose where it shouldn't have been. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, it all kind of started down the back straightaway, and I called it off of restarts. You can't really push in these cars, and the 60 tried to push the 037. He got sideways doing it, and the 2 kind of runs the 60 over. So the 60 was already kind of sideways prior to that, and as everybody tried to gather themselves up, I think you'll see the 2, just because of that small checkup. Oh, it looks like he kind of whipped himself to the high side, and
I think the 2 came down. I think
they
the
made
2 came
contact.
down. I think the 2 came down as Dickey was merging up. I
Look
think
at
that's more of
Mason
a
Sweet.
yeah. I think that's more of a racing deal. I don't think that anyone should really get an EOL for that. So I believe the caution came out due to the 91. I don't know how exactly he got turned around.
Now, honestly, that does look like a racing deal. The only reason that the 2 was slow is due to that fact that checkup prior,
Yeah.
because the checkup because of the 60. Jonathan Menard, that slowed the 2 down, and the 2, of course, everybody's trying to avoid to the apron. The 01 and Dickey is on the apron. 5, the 20, everybody's on the apron, just trying to merge themselves back up. But unfortunately, the 2 kind of caught off guard as the 01 was merging himself back up. But I mean, you could make the argument that the 01, did turn him, but that wasn't really the reason the caution came out. The caution came out because the 91 spun, and yet again, another blinking issue for Tyson Gifford. Brings that car around. You'll see him disappear at the end of this pack. Right about, I'd say, survey says, time clock says, right there is when he starts disappearing, and all of a sudden you see 91 around.
Yeah.
So caution comes out.
I think he blinked, and he must have checked up or something, and I think he blinked right in front of the 92 of Sharps, and the netcode just turned him around. So there wasn't anything Sharps could do. It's not like he could really see Gifford in front of him. But our top 5: Garrett White, Chris Downey, Ashton Dickey, Brayson Collins, and Ryan Kame. All 5 of them are really in this in contention for the win. In 6, I'm pretty sure we had the 65 of. I honestly don't know how to pronounce that name. Jeff Acevedo. Sorry, man. There's probably way too many people calling you avocado these days, but
Well, he's cooking in 6. I mean,
yeah.
where have we seen him all day? He's been toward the back, and now, I mean, he qualified himself in 27th place. Hold up. Let me pull up the statistic right here on the left side. How many positions has this number 65 has gained? He's gained 21. And as well as Brayson Collins, he's gained 21 as well. So these drivers are absolutely cooking. And you see the 9 of Ryan Martin, he's coming out of nowhere. All these drivers, these drivers we haven't really mentioned about, they're slowly starting to call themselves at the field. And for the 9 of Ryan Martin, coming in here as a playoff driver, that 9 really needs all those spots. And
Exactly.
Those are 3 playoff drivers on that shot right there.
More of them.
Ryan Martin right in the middle.
Yeah, I think that, like I said earlier, I believe that the top 10 has the best shot. My pick, Ashton Dickey, now in 3rd. I think the thing that will win him the race is that if he gets a good start, if he times it right with Garrett White, give him the ability to swing up high. Maybe if he's feeling a little aggressive and quite dangerous, he might move Downey up the track a little bit. But you never know. Unlimited green-white-checkers, so we could go until tomorrow night if if circumstances happen.
I mean, who knows? Who knows?
It's Talladega.
Yes, sir. And again, you mentioned about that fuel window. This is pull it up, seeing on how far these drivers are into their stint. They're on lap 20. Garrett White's on lap 20. There, if we see another green-white-checkered, honestly, I think a fair amount of drivers are honestly gonna have to pit for fuel. So, excuse me. Of course, you got to factor in. There's a couple cautions within these within those 20 laps. So that's why I say if we see another caution, these drivers are going to be very, very. I wouldn't say very short, but they're going to be short on fuel. And Garrett White,
They'll be running on fume. They will be running on fume.
Yes, sir. And that's not what you want to see. You don't want to be racing the fuel more than you want to be racing the drivers out on the racetrack. I mean, that's the last thing you want to do. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to make it to the end. But if we do have another restart, unfortunately for Garrett White and the rest of the field, who've pretty much stayed themselves out, they're going to have to be in a bit of a fuel situation.
Yeah, I could have sworn Garrett White. I'd imagine that he topped up when he took 4 tires on that restart with what, like 10 to go, 12 to go, one of the two. So I think that he might be about 5 or 6 laps to the good. But you know, if we have more green-white-checkers, we'll see if he can save enough. But coming to the second green-white-checkered of the day, Garrett White leading Chris Downey and Ashton Dickey, Brayson Collins, and Ryan Kame. We'll have to see when Garrett White goes into the restart zone. Green flag in the out. Good start for Garrett White. Not a good start for Ashton Dickey. Good grief. Not able to get anything done. Brayson Collins already turning the aggressive up to 11. The 65.
Ooh.
The only one on the outside line. Ashton Dickey all over the place. But we seem to keep it green so far. Looks like Chris Downey making a run on the outside. Here comes Acevedo. Exactly on the outside, on the third lane, getting a great push from Ryan Kame. He's in the lead. We'll have to see if he can get a run off the corner to clear everyone.
Oh, the 46 is down the line. We're going to go 4 wide. That's not going to work. There they go.
Oh, big wreck. Oh, teammates together. There's a 60. I believe that's Granada.
Oh my
Josh
gosh.
Patterson. That's a black flag. Ethan Harrison, he couldn't avoid that one. And a bunch of other cars. We were just talking about green-white-checkered, and it looks like we're going to have another one.
Yes, sir. That's kind of unfortunate how that kind of turned out. I mean, it's still 2 to go. Honestly, no reason to take it 4 wide. Just keep yourself in line and then make the 4 wide move. But unfortunately, somebody made it early, and looks like the 60 was being a bit impatient. But that 46 of Ryan Barone was really opening up the door for that 60. I wouldn't say he was like, really opening it up. The 60 really forced himself in that position. But unfortunately for Jonathan Menard and Ryan Barone, they collided. And Barone gets into the 60, and all hell breaks loose. You'll see the field just implode right here. You see the teammates getting together hard into the inside wall. Ooh, big hit right there. But somehow, some way, nobody gets a meatball flag. So we will still keep this many cars on the lead lap, except for Jackson Dabari, who is a DNF, unfortunately. But for everybody on the racetrack, I mean, they still have a chance to get themselves on in. So pit road's going to open this time by, and we just mentioned about it. The fuel window is now very questionable, and Garrett White might take the bait to go on in. Here comes the field. We are going to have a huge scramble now.
Oh, we'll have to see who can make it to the checkered flag. A lot of people pitting. Maybe they're gambling on another green-white-checkered, or they are legitimately out of fuel. I don't know who stayed out currently, but excuse me, it'll be a real toss-up. Looks like Garrett White wins the battle off of pit road. But yeah, this is going to be one hell of a finish.
Your pick stayed out. Ashton Dickey and that, oh,
Yeah.
well, he's decided, I'm going to stay myself out. I'm going to take a gamble. And the reason he wants to take a gamble is, I think, to the fact that he is one of the drivers who are on a better, fuel economy than everybody else on the racetrack. He pitted, oh my goodness. Actually, no, he's not. Dickey is just going to take a gamble. He's just going to say, screw it. I might as well stay myself out. And you see the 09 John Cannizzaro, he has worked himself from absolutely but nowhere. And he's now inside this top 10. So the reason he's up there is due to the fact that everybody else had to hit pit road because they were 20 laps into their stint. They couldn't make it all the way with one more Green-white-checkered. So everybody who pitted within these last before the Green-white-checkered happened, 89, 42. We've had people who have absolutely came out of nowhere. Who invited Jamie Wright? Who invited Harrison Mitchell? Who invited the 92 of Anthony Sharps? These guys are absolutely out of nowhere, and now they have a chance to win this.
Yeah, exactly. I think another person out of nowhere. I think he's in 8th, the 63 of Russell. I don't know his first name, but we literally haven't seen him all race. We haven't even thought about him. Bryson Russell. He's in 9th. He's in good position. If he can catch a good break, I think that he could be in contention in that nice looking number 63. But we're coming to 1 to green with Ashton Dickey. He's leading his first laps of the day, and we'll have to see how this gamble pays off. If he has enough to make it to the line, he's certainly rolling the dice and going all in on fuel strategy.
Yes, sir. All chips are in the center of the table for Ashton Dickey, and can he keep that 0-1 up front and absolutely upset this Talladega Superspeedway field? If you're not just tuning us here for tonight, the GGR iRacing Limeade Media Cup Series. Truck Series. Not what am I saying?
The GGR Limeade Media Grand National Series.
Thank you.
Hosted on MSTV.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Thank you. Regardless, for this being chilling 150, it has been an absolute show. It's been great from start to finish. But now we're starting to rack up those cautions. You talked about it on pre-race. The drivers, we'd start to see more cautions toward the later half of the race, and now you're definitely starting to see them. So we'll just have to see who plays the better. And at the moment, Ashton Dickey in the 01, keeping himself up front. He has a chance to absolutely make the greatest upset of all time. 771i rating, 2.0 C class. He is absolutely, he's gonna dog the field. This is gonna be insane.
I didn't want to bring up iRating, but I saw that. I was like, can the 771 guy do it? I certainly want to have an interview with him if he has a microphone. But this will be interesting. All the front runners are now basically in the back half of who can be in contention for this win. So we could have a real upset here if circumstances prevail.
Yeah, that 0-1 to Dickey. If he does upset the field, this will be the biggest upset in iRacing history. He's going against some big names, against Mason Sweet, Brayson Collins, and Garrett White especially. Those are big names right there that these drivers, he has up against. So it's Ashton versus the world. What is the saying? David versus Goliath, right here.
I don't know, but Dickey wants to win.
Yes, sir. He's about it. He's 2 laps away from victory. Can he do it? Here we go to the restart. What are they doing back there?
They're having a field day, but that doesn't matter. We're looking at the front of the field. Ashton Dickey with a good restart. I hope. Can I commentate the white flag?
Go for it.
All right. Ashton Dickey on the bottom.
Oh.
They're getting 4 wide, but Anthony Sharp's pushing up. They're barely giving each other any room. Bryson Russell all the way on the high line. Looks like he might not get the best of help. I believe that's Jamie Wright, pushing Ashton Dickey. Looks like John Cannizzaro all the way in the middle. Can he clear the 0-1?
I'm not really sure.
That inside line is not very packed up. Looks like the outside two lines are going to get a good run into the front stretch. We'll have to see who can manage the lines the best. Can it be
here comes the 89! 4 wide! Oh my gosh, what a move!
4 wide in the middle! Huge aggressive move by the 89. 4
White
wide
flag.
to the line.
5
White
flag!
flag.
What?
5 wide. We're
That's
gonna have
not
a
gonna
white.
work.
They go around. We still have everyone here. Ashton Dickey on the bottom. Harrison Mitchell, in the middle. Jamie Wright pushing Ashton Dickey. Anthony Sharps can't get anything done. It looks like it's going to be a 2-line race. Anthony Sharps trying to get something done. Garrett White goes to the outside to help him out.
He has the run.
Ashton Dickey on the inside. What can he do to the line? Harrison Mitchell wants this race. Anthony Sharps wants this race. Ashton Dickey on the bottom.
He has a run.
Can he get a run? Oh, his pusher got
Go around! What the heck?
Anthony Sharps.
Downey wins it!
Downey wins it in an amazing finish.
Downey wins it at the line!
What a finish at Talladega.
My god!
Wow.
What? Downey wins it! Oh my god!
I believe that was a 3-wide finish between Downey, Anthony Sharps, and Mason Sweet. Oh, that must be heartbreak for Dickey, but what an amazing finish here at Talladega.
Oh my gosh! How did Downey? Again, we talk about people who work themselves out of nowhere. Downey in the 22. Where did he come from? Once the whole field imploded in front of him, he snuck himself to the high side, but he still had a battle against Anthony Sharps in the 92, and he wins it by that much over Anthony Sharps. Oh my goodness gracious. Chris Downey, your winner here at Talladega.
The guy who wanted to just stay back. This is gonna help him tons in the playoffs as he taps the wall as a little celebratory tap. He should rightly burn it down. Yeah, that's one way to do it. But
yeah, short the grass.
Yeah, Chris Downey must be overjoyed.
I mean, of course, you have to be overjoyed with that. I mean, we'll walk through that whole entire final lap because my goodness, everything started to happen. They were 5 wide for a moment there, but oh, that's not really a good view of what happened. But they started going 5 wide. They were 5 wide at Talladega. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and then it looks like Acevedo, Cannizzaro, and I believe that was Bryce Russell.
Jesus!
Just caused a
wreck.
big old wreck. I saw the 29 get lifted up. Ryan Kame got in there. Then we have this little separation pack of about 10 cars. You have Anthony Sharps all the way on the outside. Looks like Jamie Wright fell back a little bit. Couldn't give Ashton Dickey the help that he needed until the end of the corner. And then Dickey could not clear Harrison Mitchell. Garrett White moves with Anthony Sharps to see if he can get something off that high line. Ashton Dickey controlling the bottom. It looks like Mason Sweet, just hooks the 42, and then they all get congested. Looks like Dickey moved up into that top little group. I can't tell who was behind him. I think that was the 98. Yeah, I think that was the 98. Yeah, tries to block, just not the greatest block to try to cut off the run. And then they're all against the wall. Mason Sweet has the run. Anthony Sharps, they're all together, 4 cars. And that's the margin of victory right there. Chris Downey wins at about a 45-degree angle with Anthony Sharps on his outside. What a finish.
And it really all got set off once Dickey tried, during the 89 up the racetrack. I mean, Dickey was trying to win this race. And I don't blame him for kind of dooring that, but it was a kind of questionable move. But regardless, it set up these two drivers to go ahead and pull off a win. And right at the line, oh my goodness gracious, we'll back up just a slight bit because my goodness, right at the line, just right at the line. That is as close as you could get.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
That's
look at
photo
that.
material.
Look at that. Unbelievable. How in the world did Downey win this race?
I don't know. I think Ashton Dickey might have saw, I believe that was a 98, try to force it in between him and the 89, and that's what made him move up. But good win to Chris Downey. Anthony Sharp's in second. Mason Sweet in third. Garrett White in fourth. Hunter Collier, the first car not in that little pack to finish in fifth place. Ashton Dickey, my pick, in sixth place. Ryan Brown, seventh place. Harrison Mitchell, eighth place. Paul Granada, ninth place. And James Beaumark came with that heavily damaged car out of nowhere, 8 seconds behind, rounds out the top 10. Lath Hicks in 11th. Oh, you can keep going.
All right, bud. The Lath Hicks, Josh Patterson, John Canazaro, Jamie Wright, Breon 11, round that top 15 is Bryson Russell, runs a bow, Pierce Maffitt, Ryan Martin, Chase Gibbons, running out the top 20.
Ryan came, Jeff Acevedo. All these guys were in basically the main pack before the finish. Jordan Madron, Ethan Harrison, Jonathan Maynard, Brayson Collins, Tyson Gifford, Connor Trafari, TJ Lair, and Jackson Dabari are all the cars that were not on the lead lap. I believe TJ Lair and Jackson Dabari DNF'd.
And rounding out the last place is going to be Bob Shoemaker in the number 24, rounding out 64 laps down. Show's not over here for the Bing Chilling 150 GGR. GGR Limeade Media Grand National Series getting set to go ahead and set up for any reviews. But we'll be right back right after this. Stay tuned. There's more to come. GGR Limeade Media Grand National Series rounds itself out here at the Talladega Superspeedway. What a race. What a finish. I'm speechless. Hess is speechless. I mean, first thoughts, honestly, Hess. What do you think about tonight?
It was a good race. I mean, despite all the cautions, it was a wicked finish. I wanted Ashton Dickey to win, but with these cars, you just get turned so easily. But an amazing 3-wide finish. Chris Downey winning at a 45-degree angle. With Anthony Sharps and Mason Sweet just so close, just by inches. But I think overall, I'd give this race about an 8.5 out of 10.
Yes, sir. And into the booth goes the number 22 of Chris Downey. We're going to go ahead and drag him in and see what he has to say about tonight. And into the booth goes the number 22, Chris Downey. He led a majority of laps. I wouldn't say majority. He led 9 laps out of the scheduled 60-something we had here for tonight. But Chris, congratulations, man. Oh, my God. What a race. What a victory. Walk me through that final lap.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I just knew I was, I think third or second in the middle, and I was just pushing as hard as I could, just trying to stay with them. And we were 4 wide, door handle to door handle for a while. I know coming to the wide, it was pretty hectic, but man, we just got through the chaos in the trial. Don't know how, but we did, and it just barely worked out.
Yes, sir, it did. And that number 22 rounds himself out a victory here for tonight. Goodness gracious, Chris. I mean, you worked yourself back and forth from the field. You were as low as 25th. Started yourself all the way back in 17th, but you led a fair amount of laps there. You led 9 laps throughout the whole race, and not only that, you're coming in here as a playoff driver. So you talked to us in pre-race, you see how it went, and it honestly went your way. That 22 is in victory lane.
Yeah, thanks.
I was curious, what you call it, how you worked yourself through the field.
Oh, it is. Sorry, I completely forgot.
No, you're fine.
God, I don't even know. I know it was mainly just fuel strategy. Just people. Honestly, I don't even remember. It's just getting really lucky with fuel and when you pit, and man, at the end when I had to pit for fuel on that last Green-white-checkered, I thought it was over. We were starting 10th, I think, but I just really took everyone 3 wide and just tried to charge my way through the field, and it was surprisingly easy to pass, but at the same time, it felt like you were really stuck where you were. So just a lot of luck.
Yes, sir. That luck really played out dividend there toward the end. You won it by that much over at the Sharps in the number 92. Congratulations, man. But before we let you go, any sponsors want to thank you for tonight?
One thing, my teammates, James Bomar, he was great. Couldn't really work with him a whole lot tonight. He got trapped a lap down. But yeah, he was great. Austin Doran, he's normally here. He's normally way faster than both of us. My other teammate, James, as well. James Usa. Caterpillar for not paying me a dime. And this whole EC Racing team, they're great, and they're a great team of staff.
All right, about time for Chris Downey in the number 22 victorious here tonight at the Talladega Superspeedway. We'll go say you come next race, man.
Yep, thanks.
Into the booth in the second spot, the man who got the end of the stick, unfortunately, that 92 of Anthony Sharps.
Hey, Anthony, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, so you got second place in that I Heart New York car. Give us a rundown of that last lap, because you basically appeared out of thin air. Because you were all, I'm not trying to be rude, but you were all the way in the back for most of the race, and then you kind of just materialized near the end, and you almost won, lost it by just a couple inches to that 22. But I bet you must be pretty happy with the place that you finished.
Yeah, P2 feels like a win. I mean, just finishing is a win here. But yeah, I materialized out of nowhere. That was kind of by design, even though I got in the wall earlier and fell back. But I fueled up, and when everyone else ran out of gas, I happened to be up front, and I just went for it. On the restart, got forced up top, and I just kept my foot in it all the way. And when I saw I was wrecking, I thought I had it until 22 got turned into me, and we were all just killing each other. And I tried to turn into him to maybe get him more loose, and it just didn't work out. But I'm glad a playoff guy won. I'm not really here for points. I'm here for wins, but P2 feels like a win.
Yeah, it must. I said earlier in the race that non-playoff drivers might as well just go for wins, and since points don't really matter at this point, so it obviously applied to you, especially with how happy you are just by finishing second, and you almost got it. Would you have loved to win just a little bit more if you were ahead?
Oh, of course. I mean, we're all racers here. Racers want to win.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So before we go, is there anyone you want to thank?
I just want to thank my sponsors, Steel Racing Federation, and the great state of New York.
All righty. We'll catch you around next race that you're in.
That was Mr. oh, crap. We lost Mr. Anthony Sharps in the number 92. And, just give me one moment. Okay, and we were back after that, like, small little scuffle. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and drag in the number 56, Mason Sweet, into the booth and see what he has to say about tonight. He led a total of 2 laps and finishes himself out in the P3 position. Mr. Sweet. It was sweet to finish in P3, but unfortunately 2 away from a victory here tonight at the Talladega Superspeedway in this GGR Limeade Media Grand National Cup Truck Series. I'm not even sure in this what I'm saying anymore. Mason Sweet, P3. Thoughts about this finish?
I mean, I really didn't think I'd be sitting here right now. Listen, I just want to come out and say first, I want to say sorry to the 42 car. It kind of made him meet a casualty there on the last lap, and he probably would have been at a bit of better spot and have a shot at it. But yeah, I just went out there and had fun, and here we are in third.
Yes, sir. You just went out there and had fun. Indeed, you did have fun finishing out in the third spot, leading 2 laps out of the scheduled 60-something. Here we had for tonight. But, I mean, you're coming in here as a non-playoff driver, I think. You mean, no real, strategy behind it. Just, flow with the pack. I mean, who were you working out there, and how'd you work yourself back out into third?
Honestly, coming into the last lap, I was third in line on the bottom. Just through the way that the strategy and stuff worked out and the cautions, I got kind of stuck in the mid pack, and because I made a bit of a misjudgment on the fuel, and had to pit during one of these Green-white-checkers. So we were kind of trying my best. I was trying my best to work my way back up there, and guess it just worked out in the end. Those boys got together fighting for it, and they gave their heart out there on the racetrack. That's all you can ask for in the end.
Yes, sir, and you ran yourself out in the P3 position. Congratulations, man. But before we let you go, any sponsors you want to thank here?
Yeah, I just want to thank Southern Blue Crabs, Old Bay, and yeah, I think that's about it. Came on here and made this ride happen.
All right, but 10 for Mr. Mason Sweet, the number 56, rounds himself out in the third spot. We'll go ahead and take him next race, man.
Alrighty.
That was Mason Sweet in the number 56, and that will be it here for tonight. I mean, nothing really much to say. We've already gone through our post-race interviews. Post-race thoughts. I mean, Garrett Hess, any last second comments before we end it out?
That's the only comment I can make, that this was a pretty good race.
Yeah, honestly, I agree. That was a pretty good race from start to finish. Honestly, a lot of fun to broadcast this league. I wish to do more and by the end of, we'll just have to see if we could go ahead and cook up some more broadcasts for this league, because that was definitely fun to see how that finish in total played out. So we'll just have to see on, how this playoff will go as well, because that's something we haven't really touched up upon. But playoff driver Chris Downey in a victory lane in that number 22. Nothing much to really say off of tonight. I mean, after, all the chaos settles down on in. But honestly, yeah, not too much to really say, honestly. Thank you all for watching here live on the Maxspeedtv network. My name is Zikaris.
And I'm Garrett Hess.
And we will see you later for tomorrow night as the ACOG League goes to the Bronze Tour at Charlotte.